The academy was silent when the doors closed. A heavy iron sound echoed through the hall, and then everything went still. The air smelled of metal and oil, the way it always did in a place built for war. Rows of young alien cadets stood straight, their bodies tense. They were tall, with scaled skin and sharp golden eyes. Each one carried the same expression, fear mixed with excitement. Today was not just another lesson. Today was something different. At the front of the room, a tall alien commander walked in. His steps were slow but heavy, and the sound of his boots made the floor shake. His long black cloak dragged behind him. No one dared to speak. The commander stopped and looked across the room. His voice was deep and sharp when he finally spoke. "Cadets," he said, "you are not here to learn about weak enemies. You are here to study the most dangerous creature in the galaxy." Every cadet leaned forward, waiting. The commander raised his clawed hand and pressed a button on the wall. A screen lit up. On the screen was a strange image: two humans fighting against giant alien beasts. The cadets whispered to each other. Some of them had never seen a human before, only heard stories. The commander spoke again. "Humans," he said, letting the word echo in the room. "They look soft. They look weak. Their skin is thin. Their bones break easily. And yet, they are killers. They are survivors. They fight when no one else dares." The screen changed. It showed battlefields filled with smoke. Small groups of humans fought against larger alien armies. The humans were bloody, broken, but still moving. The cadets grew quiet. Some of them swallowed hard, as if the pictures made them nervous. "Humans," the commander continued, "are not the strongest. They are not the fastest. They are not the smartest. But they are the most dangerous. Because they refuse to stop." The spy shifted in his seat. Hidden between the aliens, wearing stolen armor, sat a human. No one knew he was there. His face was covered by a mask. His hands trembled, but he forced them to stay still. If anyone discovered the truth, he would not live to see another sunrise. He watched the images carefully. He listened to every word. His heart beat louder with every second. The commander walked closer to the cadets. His golden eyes shined in the dark. "Remember this lesson. You will be trained to kill many species. But humans require special rules." The spy lowered his head, pretending to take notes like the others. Inside, he thought, special rules. I need to know everything. I must remember every detail. The commander tapped the screen again. More images appeared. Humans fighting in deserts. Humans climbing mountains. Humans charging with weapons in their hands, even when wounded. The commander spoke slowly, his voice filled with warning. They do not surrender. They do not accept defeat. When cornered, they become even more dangerous. A human with nothing to lose is a nightmare. Some cadets shifted nervously. A few smirked, as if they did not believe it. But the spy knew the truth. He had seen it with his own eyes, his people fighting, surviving, winning against impossible odds. The commander leaned forward. His face was hard, his tone sharp. "You must not underestimate them. Many of our armies did. And they paid in blood." The spy clenched his fists inside the gloves. Pride burned in his chest, but fear stayed close. If they discovered him, all this would end here. The room grew darker as the lights dimmed. Only the glowing screen lit the faces of the cadets. "Now," the commander said, "we begin the real lesson. How to kill a human. The words echoed like thunder. Every cadet straightened, their eyes fixed on the commander. The spy froze. His blood ran cold. The commander pointed to the board. New images appeared, drawings of human anatomy, maps of weak points. Humans bleed, the commander said. Their bodies are fragile. Strike the head, the throat, the chest. Break their limbs, and they cannot move. Keep them from breathing, and they fall. But remember, even when they are broken, they fight. The spy's chest tightened. They do not know the truth, he thought. They see weakness, but they do not understand. These are not weaknesses. These are only limits. And humans always push past limits. The cadets wrote down every word. They nodded as if the commander's lesson was law. The spy kept still, his mind racing. He could not show emotion. He could not let his pride betray him. The commander finished with a final warning. Humans are not like other enemies. They are not predictable. They use fear. They use anger. They use hope. And the moment you believe they are defeated, that is when they will rise. Silence filled the room. The spy lowered his head again. But inside, he whispered to himself. They think they know how to kill us. But they don't know the truth. They don't know what we are capable of. The commander's voice broke the silence one last time. Prepare yourselves, cadets. The day will come when you face a human. And when that day arrives, you must not hesitate. Hesitation means death. The spy's eyes narrowed behind his mask. He knew one thing for certain. If I survive this place, I will make sure my people know everything. The galaxy must hear what they are teaching here. The lesson had only just begun. The next cycle began with the same silence. The cadets stood ready, their armor polished, their eyes sharp. But in their hearts, there was tension. Yesterday's lesson had shaken them. The spy sat among them once more. His mask hid his face, but his mind was restless. He could still hear the commander's words, how to kill a human. He knew he had to remember everything. Every mistake the aliens believed. Every weakness they thought was true. The heavy doors opened. The commander entered again, his long cloak brushing the floor. His steps were slower today, but each step carried weight. The cadets immediately straightened. The commander stopped in front of them. His golden eyes scanned the room, as if searching for weakness. His voice was low but powerful when he spoke. Yesterday, you learned how fragile humans appear. Today, you will learn why they are feared. The room grew cold. The cadets leaned forward, eager but nervous. The commander pressed a button on his wrist. The walls around them changed, glowing with new images. This time, the screen showed battles, not victories of aliens, but defeats. Whole squads wiped out by small groups of humans. One clip showed 3 humans fighting against 10 alien soldiers. The aliens were stronger, faster, but the humans never stopped moving. They fought like cornered animals, wild, furious, unstoppable. The cadets shifted, some with disbelief, some with fear. The commander raised his claw. You must understand. A human without fear is dangerous. But a human with fear, he paused, his voice dropping lower, is unstoppable. The spy's heart pounded. He knew what the commander was about to say. Humans turned fear into power. Fear sharpened their senses. Fear gave them strength. The commander pointed to the screen. When humans feel fear, they do not freeze. They adapt. they change. They find strength in places no logic can explain. That is why so many armies fail against them. A young cadet lifted his hand. His voice trembled when he asked, "But Commander, if humans are so dangerous, why do they lose wars at all?" The commander stared at him for a long moment, then smiled coldly. "Because humans are not gods. They bleed. They die. But do not mistake their deaths for weakness. Even when humans fall, they do so in a way that makes others follow." The spy felt a shiver. He had seen it humans who refused to surrender, whose last breaths inspired their friends to fight harder. That was the human way. The commander turned suddenly. His golden eyes locked on the spy. "You there," he said sharply. "Yes, you in the back. You look nervous." The spy froze. His heart skipped. Every eye in the room turned toward him. He forced his voice to remain steady. "Commander, it is only the images. They are disturbing." The commander tilted his head, studying him. The room felt heavier, the silence sharp. Then, finally, the commander nodded slowly. "Good," he said. "Fear is natural. To fear humans is not weakness. It is wisdom." The spy lowered his head quickly, hiding the relief in his eyes. That moment had nearly exposed him. The commander moved back to the screen. New images appeared: humans climbing mountains in storms, swimming through oceans, surviving deserts with no water. "This," the commander said, "is why humans are dangerous. They survive. Where others fall, they endure. When they are hunted, they learn. When they are broken, they rebuild. And when they are dying, they fight harder." The cadets were silent now, no longer smirking, no longer doubtful. Some clenched their weapons tighter. Some swallowed, their throats dry. The spy watched carefully. Every detail mattered. He thought to himself, "They see us as monsters, but they do not understand. They see the effect, not the reason. They fear us, but they do not know our heart." The commander continued, his voice low, almost like a warning. "Do not trap a human. Do not give them a reason to fight with nothing to lose. Because that is when their true strength shows. That is when fear becomes their weapon." He paused, letting the words sink in. Finally, he turned back to the cadets. His tone became sharp again. "Remember this, humans will scare you. They will make your heart race. But if you let fear control you, you are already dead." The spy clenched his fists. He knew these words were true, but not in the way the commander believed. Fear did not control humans. Fear drove them forward. The commander stepped closer to the cadets. His golden eyes scanned each one. "Tomorrow, we test you. Tomorrow, you will face the human spirit not with weapons, but with your mind. Be ready." The room went silent again. The cadets stood still, but their eyes showed worry. The spy sat frozen, his mind racing. A test. If he was not careful, they would discover everything. Inside his mask, he whispered to himself, "I cannot fail. I cannot be caught. I must survive long enough to escape. My people must know what I have seen." The doors opened, ending the lesson. The cadets marched out in silence. The spy followed, his heart heavy with both fear and determination. The lesson of fear was clear. The aliens feared humans, and they should. But the spy knew something the commander did not. Fear is not a weapon against humans. Fear is the fire that keeps them alive. And tomorrow, that fire might be the only thing that saved him. The hall was darker than before. The walls glowed with a faint blue light, casting long shadows across the floor. The cadets stood in rows, their faces pale and tense. Everyone knew today would be different. The spy stood among them, his mask hiding his human face. His heart was heavy. Yesterday the commander had spoken of fear. Today, he had promised a test. The spy knew this test was dangerous not only for the cadets but for him. If he failed, his secret would be revealed. The doors opened. The commander entered slowly, his cloak dragging across the floor like smoke. His golden eyes scanned the room, and silence fell so deep that the sound of breathing felt loud. He stopped in front of the cadets. His voice was calm, but every word carried weight. Cadets, you have learned of human weakness. You have learned of human fear. Now, we will see what you have learned. The cadets shifted nervously. No one moved. No one dared to speak. The commander turned to the side, pressing a button on the wall. The screen lit up once again. This time it showed no battle, no weapons. Instead, it showed the face of a human staring forward, eyes burning with rage. The commander's voice echoed through the room. A human does not win with strength. A human does not win with speed. A human wins with will. Their mind is their most dangerous weapon. Today, I will test your mind. The spy tensed. He knew this would not be simple. The commander's eyes moved across the cadets. Finally, they stopped. You, he said, pointing his claw. The spy's chest tightened. The finger was aimed at him. Slowly, he stepped forward, trying to keep his body steady. Every eye in the room was on him. The commander studied him for a long moment, then spoke. Tell me, what is the greatest weakness of humans? The spy's heart raced. His mind searched for words. He could not speak the truth. If he told them humans had no weakness, they would know he was lying. He needed an answer that sounded right but did not betray his people. Finally, he spoke, his voice low but steady. Humans are fragile. Break their bones, and they cannot fight. Their bodies are weak compared to yours. The room was silent. The cadets nodded as if the answer made sense. But the commander only laughed. His laugh was sharp, cold, and without joy. Wrong, the commander said. His voice rose like thunder. That is what fools believe. But fools are the ones who die. The spy froze, careful not to show emotion. The commander stepped closer. His golden eyes seemed to burn straight through him. The truth is this, humans do not know when to stop. Even when their bones are broken, they keep moving. Even when their blood is pouring, they keep fighting. Their greatest weakness is also their greatest strength. They do not quit. The cadets shifted uneasily. Some looked shocked. Others looked afraid. The spy lowered his head, hiding a small, careful smile. The commander did not realize what he had just said. He believed it was weakness. But the spy knew it was power. The commander turned away, his cloak sweeping across the floor. He raised his claw and spoke to the cadets. This is why you must never hesitate. A human who looks defeated is not defeated. A human who looks broken is still dangerous. Only when the light leaves their eyes can you truly say they are gone. The spy felt a chill. He had seen that light before, the fire in human eyes that refused to die. The commander's voice grew darker. And this is why you must strike with speed, with precision. Delay even a moment, and the human will find a way to turn fear into strength. And then, you will be the one who falls. The cadets nodded. Some whispered to each other, repeating the words. The commander faced them again. His eyes narrowed. Tomorrow we test your bodies. But today, we test your thoughts. Imagine you stand before a human. They are wounded, bleeding, but still standing. What do you do? One cadet answered quickly. Strike harder, Commander. Another said, aim for the head. End it fast. The commander nodded. Then his gaze moved back to the spy. And you? The spy felt his chest tighten. He had to speak carefully. I would not wait, he said slowly. I would not give the human a chance. I would finish it before they found new strength. The commander studied him for a long time. The silence was heavy, crushing. Finally, he nodded. Good, he said. You understand. The spy bowed his head. Inside, his thoughts were racing. One more day. One more test. I must survive. The commander ended the session with final words that chilled the room. Remember this, humans are dangerous because they refuse to die. If you cannot break their will, you will never win. The cadets stood in silence, their faces pale. The spy returned to his place in line, his heart pounding. He had survived the test. But he knew the danger was only growing. The more he stayed, the closer he came to discovery. Inside his mind, one thought repeated over and over. I must escape. I must carry this knowledge back to my people. Before it is too late. The silent test was over. But the real battle was only beginning. The spy could not sleep. He lay on the hard bed inside his small alien quarters, the ceiling above glowing with faint blue light. Around him, other cadets rested, their breath slow and heavy. But for him, every sound was sharp, every shadow felt dangerous. The commander's words from the test still echoed in his head. Humans are dangerous because they refuse to die. The spy knew it was true. But he also knew something more important: if he stayed longer, he would not live to escape. The aliens were planning a war, and he was the only one who had heard their secrets. His people needed to know. His hands shook as he held a small recording device hidden in his armor. It contained everything, every lesson, every warning, every mistake the aliens believed about humans. This information was priceless. But it would mean nothing if he never made it out alive. He whispered to himself inside the mask. Tonight. I must leave tonight. The academy halls were quiet when the night cycle began. The alien lights dimmed, and most cadets returned to their chambers. Only guards moved through the corridors, their heavy footsteps echoing like drums. The spy waited until the room was silent. Then, slowly, he slipped out of his bed, careful not to wake the others. He moved like a shadow, each step light, each breath controlled. The door slid open with a soft hiss. He froze, waiting, listening. No alarm. No voice. He stepped into the hallway. The walls glowed with faint patterns of alien symbols. Strange machines hummed quietly. Far away, the sound of guards walking. He pressed himself against the wall, waiting until they passed. His heart pounded. His hands were damp with sweat inside the gloves. Every corner could be death. Every sound could mean discovery. He moved deeper into the academy. He knew the path. He had studied it for days: exits, guard shifts, hidden routes. But knowing the way and surviving the way were not the same. Halfway down the corridor, a voice broke the silence. Stop. The spy froze. Ahead of him stood two alien guards, tall and armored. Their golden eyes glowed faintly in the dark. "What are you doing here?" one of them demanded. The spy's mind raced. He bowed quickly, forcing his voice steady. "Commander ordered me to study longer. I was returning to my quarters." The guards stared for a moment. The silence was heavy, sharp. Then one of them grunted. "Move along. Do not wander again." The spy bowed lower, then walked past them. Every muscle in his body burned from holding his fear. When he turned the corner, he let out the breath he had been holding. But he knew one thing now: his time was short. Suspicion was already on him. He hurried faster, slipping through narrow corridors, ducking past locked doors. Finally, he reached the lower levels of the academy. The walls here were colder, the lights dimmer. This was where supply ships came and went. His only chance of escape. But then an alarm. A loud, piercing sound filled the halls. Red lights flashed across the ceiling. Voices echoed. "A human spy? A human is inside the academy." The spy's blood ran cold. They knew. Somehow, they knew. He ran, his footsteps quick and silent. Behind him, heavy boots pounded the floor. Guards shouted orders. The academy was awake, hunting him. He turned corners, ducked through side passages, climbed down metallic ladders. His chest burned with every breath. His mind screamed, "Faster! Faster!" Finally, he reached the docking bay. The giant doors were open, and beyond them, the blackness of space. Several small ships waited, guarded by alien soldiers. He crouched behind a wall, thinking fast. He could not fight them, not all of them. He had to be smarter. Then he saw it. A supply ship with its doors still open, workers loading cargo inside. Only two guards stood nearby. He waited until they turned away, then moved quickly, his body low. He slipped behind crates, his heart pounding so loud he thought they would hear it. Step by step, he reached the ship. But just as he was about to climb inside, a door behind him opened. Heavy footsteps. A shadow stretched across the floor. The spy turned slowly. Standing there was another alien guard, taller than the rest, his golden eyes locked on him. The guard's hand tightened around his weapon. "You," the guard said in a low voice. "You do not belong here." The spy's chest tightened. His mind raced. He had been caught. But then the guard's expression changed. He lowered his weapon slightly and leaned closer. His voice dropped to a whisper. "You are not alone. There are more humans here." The spy froze, his mind stunned. More humans? Here, inside the academy? The guard glanced around, making sure no one was listening. Then he whispered again. "Follow me. Quickly, before they arrive." The spy hesitated only for a moment. He had no choice. He stepped away from the ship, following the guard into the shadows. Behind them, alarms still screamed. Soldiers shouted. The hunt was still on. But now, everything had changed. The spy thought to himself. If there are more humans here, then this story is bigger than I ever imagined. The escape had begun. But it was no longer just his escape. The spy followed the tall guard through a narrow passage, alarms still screaming in the distance. Red lights flashed across the walls, and the sound of boots echoed closer and closer. Every instinct told him to run, to fight, to escape. But something in the guard's voice, low, steady, certain kept him moving forward. They turned down an old service tunnel, the air colder here, the walls damp and cracked. The guard finally stopped and pressed a hand against the wall. A hidden panel slid open, revealing a dark staircase that led below. Inside, the guard whispered. The spy hesitated. His whole mission had been about escaping, not going deeper. But the guard's eyes were calm, almost human in their certainty. With no other choice, the spy stepped inside. The panel closed behind them, cutting off the flashing lights and the sound of alarms. The staircase led into a hidden chamber. And there, in the dim light, the spy froze. There were humans. Dozens of them. Some wore broken alien armor. Some wore simple rags. Their faces were tired, scarred, but their eyes burned with the same fire he had always known. The fire of survival. One of them stepped forward. A woman with sharp eyes and a scar across her cheek. She looked at the spy carefully, then at the guard who had brought him. "You found another," she said. The spy could hardly speak. How many of us are here?" The woman's voice was steady. "More than they know. They capture us, they study us, but they do not understand us. So we hide, we wait, we learn." The spy's chest tightened. For days, he had believed he was alone. But here, in the heart of the alien academy, his people were alive. The guard removed his helmet, revealing not an alien face, but a human one beneath a clever disguise. His voice was no longer cold but warm, filled with quiet strength. "They think I am one of them," he said. "They taught me their ways, but I never forgot who I am." The spy stared, realization flooding him. "You've been here all along." The disguised human nodded. "And so have many of us. We watch. We listen. We learn everything they teach. Every weakness they believe. Every mistake they make. They study us, but we are studying them." The spy felt a shiver of pride. This was bigger than his mission. It was no longer about one man escaping. It was about humans fighting back, from the inside. The woman with the scar stepped closer. Her voice was low, filled with steel. "They believe they can kill us. They believe they know our weaknesses. But they forget the truth. Humans adapt. Humans endure. And when the time comes, humans rise." The spy clenched his fists. He felt the fire burn inside him stronger than ever. For so long, he had been afraid. But now, surrounded by his people, he felt unbreakable. Above them, the alarms still echoed. The aliens were hunting. The Academy believed it had trapped a single human spy. They had no idea of the truth. The disguised human placed a hand on the spy's shoulder. "You came here to escape. But now you know the greater mission. Not to run, but to prepare. When the time comes, the galaxy will learn the lesson they fear the most." The spy asked quietly, "And what lesson is that?" The man's voice was calm, but his eyes burned bright. "That humans cannot be broken." Silence filled the chamber. Every human there stood taller, their eyes glowing with the same fire. The spy felt the weight of his recording device in his armor. It contained the aliens' secrets, their false lessons, their mistakes. But now he realized something more important. The greatest weapon was not the device. It was the humans themselves, their will, their spirit, their refusal to surrender. He looked at them, at his people hiding in the shadows of the enemy's strongest academy, and he knew the truth. The aliens had made a mistake. They thought they were teaching their soldiers how to kill humans. but what they had really done, was remind humans how to win. The spy lifted his head. His voice was steady, his words clear. They believe we are weak. They believe they can end us. But they are wrong. We will show them. We will show the galaxy. Around him, the hidden humans nodded, their faces hard, their spirits unshaken. Above, the alarms kept screaming. The hunt continued. The war was coming. But deep inside the academy, in a secret chamber where fire still burned in human hearts, a quiet truth spread like lightning. Humans were ready. And when the time came, no alien training, no alien army, no alien fear would stop them. Because humans were not just fighters. They were survivors. And survivors always rise.